It's a solo bolo night for Release Dad's podcast. Tonight it's just Justin. Okay, we're done with the accent already. Anyway, welcome to Leash Dad's podcast where, shit doesn't matter. No, where we talk about everything and anything that's parenting and how we go through our everyday lives, chained to our responsibilities such as our children, family, work, whatever it may be that you can think of. And feeling, reaching out to the community, letting you know you're not alone if you feel like you're chained down by everything and anything that really chains you down. We're here to help you out. As mentioned, I'm Justin or JJ. Here tonight, again, another solo here. Jared is a little ill, or more or less today. Jared's not feeling the greatest, so we're here by myself. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about here is really just to night, a day, whatever you want to call it, whenever you're listening to it, really, um, you're just gonna shoot the shit here. I want you guys to get to know me a little bit more, as we haven't really done that yet. It's crazy because we're in like the second season of the podcast, I guess, in a way, or working on year two, and I feel like you really don't know us all that well, as crazy as that sounds. So I'm just gonna do a little talking about myself here. Being a parent, who I am personally. Maybe we can see what it's like in my life a little bit. Besides what I have talked about, having uh, children here, um, and what I do for a living now. But um, let's kind of get started, I guess, here. So usually, we do like to talk about those random things like what happens throughout the week, whatnot. Um, Work week was kind of fun, I guess. Returning to work, seeing patients again, where the doctor was my boss, the doctor, is finally back from vacation. Sounds like he had a blast. We were keeping up, kind of getting some updates from him with his pictures, whatnot, what there may be. He did some fishing, he went on a cruise, things like that. I enjoyed that. Um, but now we're back to the work life, actually having to take patients and see patients and work with them again here. So not a big deal. Um, Today or Tuesday was pretty busy in that sense. It's our longest day on Tuesdays. Wednesday, uh, kind of another busy day. Um, I only work Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, so except for every third week, um, which I will dive more into as well. That way, you can kind of get an idea of what my work life is like and how that affects my home life. So again, that's kind of that there. Still running around like a chicken with my head cut off, or that's what it feels like. Where you've got children that are doing such activities or whatnot. Um, and why I'll discuss more as to why it feels like I'm a chicken with my head cut off sometimes. um the other thing as well, wrestling tournament. We're also looking at the Super Bowl here, so if, this will be released before the Super Bowl, but I'm going to say this: go 49ers. Go 49ers. I was really hoping it was going to be the Lions in the Super Bowl. They somehow choked, let the 49ers back in. But go 49ers. You deserve it. I don't want to see the Chiefs win again. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. So I'll be watching it at a Super Bowl party here Sunday evening. Go 49ers. You deserve to win. You won the NFC. Now you deserve to win it all again. Um, but So that's kind of the week here. Proud moment I wanted to share is that my little girl is inching her way more and more to walking all by herself. Each day is more progress, I would say, um, where she's going to start walking all by herself. Just got to keep at it. She's got to get that confidence, and she's almost there. So nothing wrong with that. But that's my proud moment there. Really, or what I've been most proud of right now. Um, yeah. So, without further ado, I can't speak either, but I'm gonna drink some water. Stay hydrated, folks. So, meat of it. Talking a little bit about myself. I am Justin Jatsak, or JJ. I come from a family of 4. It was my parents, myself, and my sister. Um, I am the oldest. I am the oldest out of all children in my family. So when I say that, I'm talking even extended family, my cousins and everything. I am the oldest, so I know it's got to happen somewhere. Surprisingly, I am the oldest there. Never thought I would be, but out of all my cousins, I am the oldest. Even as in additional family, I talk about my friends that I consider family, like brothers and sisters. I'm still the oldest, as crazy as that sounds. Um, but yeah, so uh, realistically, family of 4, biologically at least. Um, I've got 6 children of my own. I have to think of my number again. Nope. Sorry, can't think of my number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 children of my own. 2 11-year-olds, or well, yeah, technically two. One will be 11 here in April. One is 11 already. God, it feels so old. Um, to basically 2 11-year-olds, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, almost 5, and a 1-year-old. Love them all very much, as you can tell. But the oldest 11-year-old is with us here, just kind of chilling around right now upstairs. My other 11-year-old is not with us. Hasn't been. I have shared that in the past with you folks. Very tough decision that I've made. To I won't ever say remove him from my life, but it was a very difficult decision where it. Some may say it's not ideal that I stopped seeing him, uh, but when he gets pulled in different directions, being pulled in different directions, being told one thing and then being told another thing at another place was never ideal for him. Uh, Hurting his own self, um, just who he is, who he could be, being pulled in 2 different directions. Lifestyle is not good for him like that. So that's why I made the very tough decision. Um, Among other things as well. And it has, over the years, it's been a few years actually. About 4, it'll be 4 in November, which doesn't seem like it, but it's been a while. It does get a little easier each time I talk about it. There are some people that still against it, obviously, but it's because they've never done that lifestyle before. They've always had their happy families. Um, so they've never gone through, I'd say they've never gone through a situation like this. They may have worked with it in the past or whatnot. But when you go through it yourself, I definitely say it's a different story. Well, then when you do actually have to hear about it, and you're just kind of the person that's not part of it, um, it doesn't, I know to me, it's like you're not actually the one having to do it day in, day out. You hear about it, you are um, doing things of the sort um, with them, but you're not actually dealing with the child and how they are truly affected by it. You can see the results, you can see what is going on, but to me, um, it doesn't affect your life. Where it affects mine, it affects my son's, it affects my family, it affects his other family, um, and whatnot. But at least the ones that are close to him, like myself, his father, um, and his siblings, his half brothers, half sister, it affects them. Now, my 1-year-old isn't going to know, not not like I would ever stop her from knowing him or anything. But she doesn't know. She hasn't been around. He doesn't know her. Um, but yeah, so I mean, if that ever comes up and whatnot, I'm still gonna be open and have a conversation with him when time comes, if time comes. I will say it's more of when versus if. It's just when it happens. Who does what? Who reaches out first? And it's all circumstantial at that point or situational. Um, so that's about me, my family. Two 11-year-olds, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, almost 5. He'll be 5 in March. And my 1-year-old who just turned 1 back in December. Um, you've seen her a couple times on guest appearances. Her name is Eleonora. My oldest 11-year-old's name is Kane, followed by Sean. Sean. Funny, we've had a guest named Sean before as well. Spelled completely different though. Our guest was Shaun. My son is Sean. Then we've got Arlo, my 6-year-old, or the 6-year-old, and then we have Nico, the 4-year-old, and then Eleanor, the 1-year-old. Now it's funny. My wife, Samantha or Sam, her and I have been together for a total of about 10 years. We started dating back in 2014, near the end of it, more or less. It's still funny. I still remember our first date, just because it was a bit, to me, it was a big thing, right? As cliche as our first date was, it was dinner, a movie, dinner at Applebee's, then a movie, and whatnot. So, again, very cliche, dinner and movie, blah, blah, blah. But to me, I don't remember the movie. I believe it was Interstellar. So yeah, dinner at Applebee's, Interstellar at the movie theater and whatnot. Yeah, it was just one of those things. What to do around the area while you're childless, basically, is what it came down to. So, um, our family, I won't say our family is very mixed. Kane is my stepson, John is my son, and then we have 3 kids of our together. So it's a mixed family in that sense. Um, let's see. Again, being a family of 4, coming from a family of 4, it's very different lifestyle than what I'm used to, or what I do now than what I'm used to. Where it was just my sister and I growing up. Now I have 4 or 5 other people living under me that need my help, and it's very chaotic. I never thought, honestly, that I would be somebody that has a big family. I was always thinking my ideal size family would just be 2 children, 4 in total. So my spouse, and then 2 kids, and myself. But nope, I also have 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 hedgehogs, and then 5 children running around this place. So to me, and other people have called it a zoo. And that's what it really feels like. And then, of course, you can see in the background kind of a mess. Um, you can see the 2 cats kind of moving around every now and then, which is cool. Thor is the one on the futon, and Loki is the white one that you'll see roaming around a little bit here, currently by my feet. But yes, a little bit more about me personally, or from that, I will call myself a nerd or a gamer. Um, I like to, really use those two in different or interchangeably. Um, but I guess, oh, you're such a nerd, or I just like to play video games, whatnot, when time allows. Um, my favorite game thus far that I will go to has been League of Legends, the multiplayer online battle arena, um, created by Riot. I know it's got a lot of things out there nowadays, such as um, the TV show Arcane on Netflix, that came from League of Legends, but um, I also like to play some of their other games too. Uh, um, the other, my video game history really started off on the N64. Kind of shows my age a little bit there. Um, N64, when I played that, it was Donkey Kong 64, GoldenEye, um, 007 GoldenEye. World is Not Enough 007. Super or Mario Party 2. Um, did a little bit Mario Kart, whatnot. Uh, some hockey games. NFL Blitz, where you could just smash people around. Um, that's kind of where my gaming really started. Yeah, there were some like Super Nintendo games that I used to play. Um, one of them was like I don't remember the name of it, but it was a red and blue guy. They both had guns. You go around and try to kill things. Typical, right? But yeah, there were some games like that too that I used to play. I had evolved into a Microsoft lover. So when the Xbox first came out, I got that for Christmas one year from my parents, and really the first Xbox game I got with that was Halo. At the time, my parents didn't realize that Halo was rated mature, so 17 plus or whatever it is. Um, for what was I? Xbox was in 2001 for a fourth grader, basically. So about where my kids, or where Kane is at. I mean, he's in fifth grade right now, but 10, 11 years old at the time. Okay. So I was playing that, and all of a sudden I realized there was a lot of blood and gore. Not understanding at the time what all the elite blue stuff was. But my dad was watching me. He's like, "Oh, that's a lot of blood." Man, you could just sit there and whack the crap out of a dead elite and watch it shoot out blood. Um, but yeah, so I showed him that it was 17. It's like, oh well, whatever, But they trusted me to know better. Um, I would also consider myself a social butterfly, or a little more than my wife and children. Sadly, children you think would be more sociable, want to go out and play, hang out with friends, whatnot. Um, I blame technology nowadays. Nowadays, though, for them not wanting to necessarily go out and play so much, I do need to get better with that and making sure they go outside and not rot their brains every single time. Um, so gaming, I've become a huge gnome collector. I've got a lot of gnomes kind of back up there. Here, there's some just chilling up there as well. Um, my gamer tag is Darth Nomi for a lot of things. Um, I don't know, just kind of happened. The way Darth Nomi actually came to fruition or came out was World of Warcraft, the big MMORPG, right? I got into that because of some friends back when it first. Don't remember the year exactly, um, but I think I was like in high school or at the end of my time in middle school. Started playing that, and from there, or maybe even middle school, like, hmm, hard to really remember when it actually happened. But anyways, World of Warcraft, I created a gnome. Being big into Star Wars as well here, I wanted to create a gnome and do some things where you can get like an enchantment on your weapon. I turned it into like a red glowing sword, which looked like a red lightsaber, and I called myself Darth Nomi, and he was a gnome warrior, um, and whatnot. So that's how Darth Nomi came, and from there I just kept making my gamer tag out of it, Darth Nomi. Um, from there on out, just because it was easy and I really liked the name, it kind of stuck with me basically. So, and that's where my fascination for gnomes came as well. Um, I also have a gnome shirt that says "Hanging with my gnomies," so whatnot. Makes me a little jealous that there's a company out there called Gnome Games, but I do go there every now and then too, because that's where my kids like to play, that's where one of my kids likes to go on Saturdays for a little bit to do some trading, like Pokemon card trading, which is funny because I started getting back into that because of them, um, blowing my finances on that now instead of other things that I could be doing. Um, Adulting is fun. I tell you that much. Adulting is always fun for you folks out there if you're considering it. Don't do it. It sucks. It really sucks. Um, Anywho, so uh, I like my gnomes. Um, I also blame my wife for that too. She's also a gnome lover too. So we'll try to find things gnome related. Like we'll get some gnome decorations for outside our house and put them around. Obviously, these gnome plushies and whatnot. Um, I do like my Disney movies as well. Uh, I have a Stitch water bottle. He's one of my favorite Disney characters. I used to be able to do a very good impersonation of him. Just randomly started doing it one day back when I was younger, and kind of stuck with me. But I'm not going to do it tonight. Sorry, guys. As much as you probably would love to hear me do it, I'm not going to do it tonight. Let's see here. What else is there? Some of my favorite movies out there for you folks. Um, Star Wars movies. I would definitely say um, the prequel and the regular saga. The sequel saga is I don't think it necessarily needed to ever happen. It was just more or less an expansion into the universe, expansion canon, whatnot. So I don't know. Overall, it's not bad. I mean, they're okay. They're good movies in the end, but they were never necessary, in my opinion. Especially when The Force Awakens was a good thing, but the way they kind of rounded it out in the end, it wasn't necessarily uh, what what most people may have wanted in terms of canon. I was here thinking if they ever did come out with a sequel, that they would do something with uh, Luke, Leia, and Han again, uh, as after uh, the second Death Star blew up and whatnot, rather than move on to whole new characters. But sometimes you just can't do it. I mean, it was years after, right? So Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford got a little older, maybe not so much in those roles anymore to fit those roles. So, but they did what they did. Kudos to them. So still a big Star Wars fan. I do like my uh, what else? I have in the past streamed video games. I've been on a very long hiatus here from it because of children. And I'll go into that too. So, um, my children definitely take up a lot of my time here. And that is partially why I feel like I'm chained down to my everyday responsibilities. They are my responsibility. Um, and with my spouse or Sam working, she's a nurse. So her hours are definitely weird. Like she used to do 8-hour days and then get forced into 16-hour days. She has recently changed. I think she's been going on just about almost, it'll be a year sometime here for her shift into the 12s, working 12s rather than 8s. Um, but she enjoys being a nurse. Uh, but to me, as much as I love what she does, it does scare me as she is petite or smaller than most people we know here. Um, but the big thing is when she's at home, she does like to get some Z's um, because of the hours she does work. And I don't blame her for that by any means. Um, And she still does a lot of things around the house too, and very appreciative of that, as she's appreciative of what I can get done around the house too. Um, so by no means am I trying to sandbag her or anything and say she doesn't do anything around the house. She does. She does a bit or a lot when like she'll keep the living room clean. She'll do the laundry. We do like to take turns on that. I commonly do the laundry. Ooh. Excuse me. I commonly do the laundry, throw the loads in, blah blah blah. She'll do like the folding or whatnot, depending. Mainly when I do laundry, it's because I'm running low on something like underwear, so I'll be the one doing it just to get myself some underwear or other clothing that I'm low on. Um, but I commonly just like to let all the clean clothes stack up in bins rather than fold them or whatnot, which I do need to get better at. Let's see here. So she's more or less in charge of really keeping the house clean in the long run. She'll do like the toilets, the living, cleaning up the living room. I'll help sweep and mop, but she'll do like a lot of the organizing or whatnot, putting things away, because that's just kind of keeping control and order in the house. Um, as I was saying though, children, big responsibility, and it gets tougher. I would say it definitely gets tough with having more and more kids. Um, where eventually Sam has kind of made this statement where once they're old enough to do some sort of activity, we're going to put them in it. That way, they're not being stuck in the house all day long. Even like I know they have to go to school, so going to school for 8 hours a day, but then coming home and doing nothing in the house. Um, we don't want that happening. Kane has been very good about it. He's been in multiple different like sports things. His first one was like karate. He did soccer for a little bit, um, and he's now in wrestling, which is something he really enjoys. And he will be doing some tumbling here or gymnastics work right now. As so is Arlo. So Arlo is currently enrolled in a tumbling class, um, that we started him back in the fall of 2023. So he's been doing tumbling for a bit here. Um, I think sometimes he doesn't, he's all over the board. He likes it, he doesn't like it, whatnot. He's been really wanting to do a lot of swimming lessons recently here. Um, and again, we just want to let him know that yes, it's a good thing to do swimming lessons, but it's not going to be the thing that replaces like your activity, such as tumbling. Nico will eventually be doing something. Just have to find out what he's actually interested in doing besides sitting on his butt playing video games all day when he's not in school. Because right now he's in pre-K, so he's only in school for half a day. Um, Allie obviously just enjoys her time doing whatever she can for now, but she'll do something too once she. I think normally 5 or 6 is when we try to get them into some sort of activity outside the house. So we'll see what they want to do as they get to that age. Um, and it's okay. We're gonna let them try whatever they want to try. We're not gonna force them to just be like, "Yep, you want to do gymnastics? Now you're stuck in gymnastics." Believe it or not, we have tried to ask Arlo if he wanted to do wrestling because uh, one of his school buddies is in wrestling right now. Um, her older brother is in wrestling, and her dad is one of the coaches for their youth school program. So he's got his son and his youngest daughter enrolled in that program, and thought thought Arlo might be interested if he found out. Excuse me, if he knew that somebody else that he knows is actually enrolled. No, he's more interested in just doing tumbling, and whatnot. So we'll keep him in that for now until he changes his mind and wants to try something else. I'd rather have my children grow up uh, trying different things rather than being stuck, or if they do have their hearts set on one sport. and they want to keep going, like Arlo and tumbling and gymnastics, maybe great. I'm all for that too. Uh, but it's not like if all of a sudden he says, "I'm done with tumbling and want to try something new, Dad, Mom. I just hate tumbling now, or I hate gymnastics now. It's not my thing." It's like, fine, let's find something else that you would be interested in doing. Um, we're going to support that. Uh, as far as that, so it is very interesting how everything works out. Um, I've always, again, wanted to think, my ideal size family was just going to be four parents and two kids. It didn't matter the sexes of the children. Just, I guess my ideal would have been like one daughter or one son, one daughter. Which way it came didn't matter. Um, but here we are. I'm with 5, 6 children, or 4 or 5 children. Um, and the majority of the children are boys. For the longest time, I thought I was cursed, or just couldn't make a girl, or couldn't create a girl. And long and behold, Allie, being our last child, was in fact kind of like a blessing, more like a gift of, hey, you can actually do it. Your your sperm can actually make women or females or girls. So congratulations. Um, you lucky bastard, you, Justin. So yeah, really in the grand scheme of things here, I am glad that my children do sports. Again, gets them out of the house, keeps them active, and can socialize if they choose to, right? So, um, as much as I like to get them out of the house on a regular basis, we have always tried to sign up and do things such as uh, we have a place called the Building for Kids. It's like a 2-story museum in a sense, or activity building, where they can do painting, play with water, um, do some other things in there, whatnot. It's got a big, it's got like an 18-wheel truck that they can play with, or pretend play with. I apologize. It's that time of, it's really, I don't know. It's just been crazy. Physically run down from everything that goes on, from work uh, to being at home with children. It's just a lot. So, and not to mention the children are sick, so they could be getting me sick, which just really is unfortunate. Um, I feel like as well, when one person gets sick, it spreads throughout the house, which, it's true. It does spread. It just makes it very difficult then as well, because it feels like it's a never ending cycle. Um, one of these days, I think we just need to take the house, spray it down with Lysol or whatnot, just disinfect everything and anything in the house to help get rid of it all. Yes, we do use medication to help with whatever. It's not like we don't. We're not like, by no means am I bashing anybody's choices of how you want to take care of your ill children or yourself. Where, you can. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's that time. Um, must be. But yeah, so that's about me there. Um, as an adult, as a kid, growing up was always fun. I played soccer a lot. I did play basketball a little bit. Um, I played basketball 2 years. Um, once when I was in third grade, and then when I was in fifth grade. Um, it was very different. Um, I've lived in a total of 3 different states when I was growing up here: Wisconsin, Georgia, and Oklahoma. And then I came back to Wisconsin. So I've moved no, moved from Wisconsin to Georgia, Georgia to Oklahoma. It's 3 times. So 3 states, 3 different moves. Um, had an opportunity, I would say, more or less my father had an opportunity when he worked for the company he no longer works for because he's retired. But he worked for Kimberly Clark, and he had an opportunity, or there was talk, if he so chose to, or however it worked out. Um, there was opportunity that he could have moved over to Europe, which would have been a completely, like a culture shock to myself and my family. But at that time, I was in high school. I had just started, or was in my sophomore year of high school. So we had a conversation. And it's like it wouldn't have happened for myself, and my mom would have stayed here with me. That way, I could finish out high school, because those are like some of those 4 years of your life are very critical. Um, and they didn't necessarily want me to get removed. My sister being a few years younger than myself, she was only in middle school, so it's kind of like whatever. Yeah, sure, you're still growing up. You've got your friends kind of established, um, but at the same time, you're not in your final 4 years of big, like, required schooling, I guess. Um, and so you can make that change or whatnot. But I would have stayed, finished out, and then maybe moved over to Europe, all depending. Um, it would have been an interesting thing to do had it actually happened, but it didn't happen. Not sure if somebody else had gotten the offer or whatnot, or if it just fell through the cracks on the entire thing. But um, so yeah, my father, he was like an electrical engineer. He did some training, or became more of a trainer, um, for Kimberly Clark, do consulting training and whatnot. My mom, she was a daycare provider for the YMCA. She retired recently as well here. My sister, she would have been 30 this year, actually. A few days ago, she would have turned 30, back on the 1st of February. Um, she sadly passed away, due to some unforeseen health situations on her end. Um, this had happened a couple of years ago on a family vacation that we had gone on, and I know I've shared this before, with you folks, but yeah, she would have been 30 this year. Um, it just sucks when things like that happen. Um, Actually, I don't even feel like that's right, but 94 and 24, yeah, would have been 30. It's interesting. I would have been 30 freaking 3. I will be 30 freaking 3 here. But yeah. God, it's crazy to think of where everything is going right now. Uh I met Sam, my spouse, my wife, um through McDonald's. She was my boss at one point. Um we've gone out a couple, we started hanging out during that time. We hung out, we would close, and then sometimes we'd go over to, um, a bar afterwards and have some drinks. We kind of started hanging out that way, uh, and whatnot, with some other friends as well. We'd go over to like a brewing company, that was in the same location as us, and we'd just have a couple. We'd have like a nightcap basically. Um, when we had that opportunity. Nowadays, we don't really get that opportunity because, well, children just run the world. I do believe that our children, well, the children of any, parent, really is kind of like the kings. Um, Now I do, I'm getting this from like anime or, um, manga, that, Japanese written stuff. Uh, cartoon like Cartoonesque. Um, but I believe that those writers that wrote that are actually very, very, very true. Uh, Children are the kings, uh, and queens, really, of this world, because they are the ones that will be taking over in our place eventually, right? As they get older, they start taking over, and we kind of start phasing out a little bit, um, in the sense that, we get older and it's their time to shine as adults. Um, So they're the kings. We are their protectors in the grand scheme of things here. I do like anime. That actually came along with getting to know Sam more. She was kind of she pushed me into that direction. Not saying it's a bad thing when I say push, but she basically nudged me in that direction. Um, yeah, sure. I used to like my Pokemon, my Yu-Gi-Oh, those types of anime, Saturday morning cartoons, whatnot, what there may be. Um, but then I started watching like Naruto, um, some of those other anime out there. One Piece I've started really getting into here recently, um, but it's been very fun. Uh, I still like the game. I will again play League of Legends. There's some other ones out there like Hogwarts Legacy. I've played, beaten. Um, Excited to see the expansion or the new content that's coming out here. Um, I do play some horror games from time to time as well, such as Phasmophobia. I believe that's more fun in a group though. Poppy's Playtime, it's a one-person game. If you're not known for that, it's you go around as like a disgruntled or returning from the first chapter, which was the first part of the game. I don't recall if it was ever considered chapter one until they came out with chapter two. But you were coming back as an employee. Um, you had left the factory, and now you're coming back to find out what happened to everybody, um, and whatnot. And they came out with chapter two, and now they've got a third chapter out there, which I'm going to play eventually here. I would love to actually stream that as well. Um, some TV shows. I know I was talking about movies and TV shows before. TV shows that I'm really into right now. I do include like the anime stuff in there. Um, but Sam has gotten me into NCIS. Yes, we've seen it multiple times. Since it's on Netflix, they only have like 15 seasons on Netflix. Kind of rewatch that. I've gotten Paramount Plus, so I've watched up to season 20 that they have out there on Paramount Plus. Um, let's see here. Just some newer things out there like The Night Agent, where the guy gets a phone call, takes care of thing like the phone that had hardly rang for whatever. Start watching that. There's other shows that are escaping my mind right now, but talking about some movies that I really do enjoy. Okay, the Star Wars. I know I've talked about that here. My favorite though, and I was saying this last night I was watching it. It's the How to Train Your Dragon series or the trilogy. Um, Toothless being the main character, one of the main characters or protagonists, really touched touched me. Uh, just he's a great character, even though he's a dragon and can't really say anything. Um, he's I love dragons, and Toothless is by far like one of the best dragons out there. Um, because of how cute and adorable he looks when he's got his retractable teeth in, um, and when he's just looking like gums and smiling with his gums, versus having them out and looking all ferocious from time to time. But he's just been, Toothless is a great character and overall. Um, his development and everything. Same with Hiccup though, too, developing him into being the first I won't say first dragon rider because you learn there's more dragon riders in the second one. But being a kid and discovering that more wants to be a dragon rider than a killer and whatnot, and moving on to developing into the chief at the end of the second one. Spoilers for all those who have not watched them yet, or sorry, but they've been out for years now, and whatnot. Uh, I do love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think it's got great, it's a great content. Um, it does take care of a lot of different things out there. It covers a ton of different aspects throughout what there may be. But other movies that I do like, some of the more recent like animated Disney movies like Elemental. I do like my Avengers or Marvel movies as well, even though they've got a ridiculous amount. They're still, you know, some people have stopped watching them. I will still watch them because it's part of the MCU or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So kudos to them on that one. But I don't necessarily go, I need to go see it. I'd wait for it to come out on Disney Plus or DVD and then get it or whatnot. So, I do like some romantic movies, such as one of my favorite romantic movies recently has been The Longest Ride, um, where it's like notebook esque, um, where they talk about their where it's like a older couple talking about their lives. Um, this one is more or less a two young people kind of meet and they fall for each other, but they also save a guy um, who had crashed his car into the ditch, and he starts telling his story, his love story with his wife. Um, and whatnot. And it's a great story. Um, it's the longest ride. And, it's, I enjoy it. My wife enjoys it. Um, I do love my step up movies, like the dancing movies as well. Those are great. Just to go watch them and whatnot. I just love watching those breakdance scenes or um, what they've evolved into, everything like that. The street dancing. Um, the other movies that I will go and see in theater when it comes out, Fast and Furious movies. I own every single one of them. Well, actually, let me rescind that. I don't own Fast 10 yet. At least the first part. I don't own the first part, but I own every other one. I even own Hobbs and Shaw, the spinoff, which is funny. I think they're coming out with like a second one or whatnot. But it'll be very interesting to see Fast 10 Part 2 and how that turns out. So, but folks, that's about me here. Feel free if you have any questions or want to feel free to ask me. I would love to do an AMA, but I feel like an AMA would be better if we do that live. But if you do have questions you want me to answer next time, feel free to send them to us. Send them to our email, leashdads14@gmail.com, leasheddads at 14@gmail.com. Or you can send them to us via Spotify as well, or interact via Spotify. Probably see some sort of clip here on TikTok, whatnot as well. YouTube, you can always comment there as well. But folks, thank you very much. Hopefully now you've got a little more about me, who I am, and you'll tune in some more as well. Maybe we'll do something with Jared if he's got another solo one sometime where he discusses more about himself. Kind of gives you a better understanding of his who he is, inviting you more. So thank you again. We will see you all next time.